and welcome back to another LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, Full Throttle Remastered is now available for Linux, and we can all say, finally. And Humble Bundle has a Saints Row bundle, but that's not really what we're looking for, because it has something in it that's just a bit mighty.
Steam drops some shades. Oh, snap! The loading times. And Zero ID has a deluge of new features, including actual flooding.
And CryEngine starts accepting pull requests, which means that Linux support might get a whole lot better. And remember that horrible review for a good game last week? Well, the same team is releasing a new game that looks a whole lot better than the last one.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, beautiful party people, I am Vin Stone here at LGC Actual, switching the bits, running the boards, trying to keep this nightmare train on the rails, always failing at that, but joining me every week is our man up north. That's right.
If I flap my arms enough, I'll fly away!
It's terrible. That's one Master Svang, and filling in for Space Portugal via L.A.
Yes.
That is Hollywood Commandant, as he's known, in the scene, in the business, in the industry. That's what they call him. Got Strikecore, together with Shatroom Dynamic, helping us form that last little bit. Notice Cocaine Voltron. Before we get started, we like to see what's going on in each other's lives. I didn't do anything today. I had my first Saturday off since last year, October of last year, because I had 5 weeks in October last year. That was the thing. I went to thrift stores. I bought 2 pairs of pants and a keyboard. Go me. What's up, Jordan?
I went and saw Baby Driver yesterday. It was pretty good. I also got to play. Let's hope that PayPal doesn't request a bunch of unnecessary personal information. You sent me that wire for the humbucker because we have those hum issues when I go through the sound card when I do the Thursday streams. So hopefully the hardware fix will take care of that. But you know, whenever you log into PayPal for the first time in a long time and you got to transfer some money, sometimes they're like, hey, yeah, we need a copy of your driver's license, social insurance number, valid passport, drop of blood.
Yep.
I didn't get any of that, so I was a little pleasantly surprised, but you know that feeling. You know exactly.
Yeah. The first picture I sent him were my 3 passports.
Yeah.
Then, I can keep going, and there was it was like, we get it. All right, it's cool. Don't worry about it. What's up, Matthew? It's been a long time.
Yeah, so you might have noticed that I was doing this Wednesday show.
Nope.
And then...
Actually, we've had a lot of positive feedback lately. The show's really gone up in ratings.
Yeah, and then for some reason I wasn't doing the show anymore. Well, that's because I found an actual job that pays me real money. And I get to do some Python, which I like, on a Linux laptop, on Vim, all the stuff I like doing, like refactoring, like doing some real actual coding on big projects. This is really nice job. Doesn't leave me a lot of time to do a Wednesday show, but here I'm free on Saturday, so that's fine. And yeah, and having a job let me do cool stuff as well, such as seeing Nine Inch Nails live and buying new fridge. So good on that.
I got a question for you though. Would you quit if they said you can no longer use Vim, you have to use Nano?
No one uses Nano. I mean, even they use...
You do now!
I think they use Komodo, which is pretty good. It's pretty good for Python. I think I wouldn't say if they said you can't use Vim, because it's not Vim, it's my Vim. It's a Vim I spent 7 years building and customizing.
So all I'm hearing is Emacs shops, please make Strider an incredibly lucrative offer that he cannot possibly say no to, and then force him to use Emacs.
Ladies and gentlemen, one thing that absolutely doesn't use Nano is our horse, because it is true and true Pico for life.
I thought it used the old Eden set, but anyways, it's the Steam Linux
updates.
Alright, Flatpaks. So, the latest Brewmaster beta to 120. It's not quite 2112, it's a little more shuffled than that. has a couple updates to it, including Flatpak support. They have a couple CVEs as well, but the big thing here is, oh my god, you can actually maybe use your SteamOS desktop as some sort of general purpose computer. I don't know if I agree with that 100%, though. I feel that SteamOS should be as TiVo-ized as possible to give like the best possible
what do you really, I mean, do you want to just like wicked lock down and make it idiot-proof TiVo, or...
Not really, but like if you want Flatpak, you can like build that yourself. I feel like this is to, I don't know, accommodate people who are like, oh yeah, I want to use SteamOS as my daily driver. Don't do that. Use a real distribution.
You shouldn't use that as a daily driver, but still, Flatpak allows for some good stuff, especially. So you might know that I'm doing this stuff right here, which is known as Lutris, the open gaming platform. And, Debian keeps pulling the whole Linux ecosystem back with its ancient versions and everything.
I thought it was the Ubuntu ecosystem, Strider.
No, because Ubuntu is pretty much much more up to date than Debian. And now, I mean, if we compare Ubuntu LTS and the latest Debian, then yes, Ubuntu LTS is older than Debian. That said, with Ubuntu, you have the option of going non-LTS, so it's a bit different. The thing is, now SteamOS was the last distribution using Debian 8, and they had this old version of GTK. And it was keeping us from using new features from GTK. But if we got Flatpak, then yeah, I mean, we can use pretty much anything and they won't care because, okay, let's say your distribution is too old. Well, we can just ship a Flatpak and it works. It will work with, let's say, GTK 3.24. No problem. So
what would what would actually be kind of interesting? I just thought of this. Actually, distributing Steam games as Flatpaks, because that would resolve a lot of the dependency issues you could have.
I think they're considering it because they are using this runtime, which is based on Ubuntu 12 or 4, and it's doing okay, but still it's not perfect. And I know that because
we'll see though. Ven, what do you think about this whole flattening box thing that they're doing?
Well, I mean, we can all sit back and kind of look at it and wipe the sweat off your brow, Oregon, and go, at least they didn't use snaps, right?
Snap!
That's a difference.
Yeah, man. And Flatpaks I could see. Games being distributed in Flatpaks, my first thought is like, gee, all right, let's put more kitchen sinks on top of the games. But on that same note, it could help compatibility with a lot of stuff. And let's face it, we're living in the days where you don't really blink when you see a 40 gigabyte download. You're like, oh, all right, that's going to take 30 minutes, but boy, what, 41 gigs? That's not going to be that big a deal. And if it helps compatibility with everything and it cuts back on Steam having to actually help the customers in any way, which they love doing that.
Or the people going, oh, hey, we'd love to support Linux, but we have so many things we need to support and distributions and really old, bad arguments that don't really hold water anymore. This would really shut them up.
Yeah, and Steam, like the Steam runtime was the first step in that direction of having a single platform to support, and Flatpak makes everything even better. So you can have multiple runtimes, and if you want to target something in particular, then you can, and it won't affect like the other games. So everything is isolated in its own neatly packaged like game, and it will work unless you have some very weird broken system.
Hey,
well,
man, broken systems find a way, but caching is a thing now with the latest beta.
Oh yeah, the latest Steam update came out July 25th, and of course, there's always stuff with the Steam controller. They have some Mac updates. Their web browser for big picture mode is using a newer version of Chrome now. But one of the neat things is they're supporting precompiled shaders for OpenGL games. You can have a cache of them and distribute them alongside the game. So that's useful. This should hopefully help with some of the abysmal startup times for a bunch of the OpenGL games that we've been playing. Actually, the game that we're playing this week has that, or that we're reviewing this week, definitely has some loading problems.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that with some degree of certainty. What with the NVMe drive, Vulkan already supports precompiled shaders, so and you can already ship that, so it's not really going to help much in the way of Vulkan. But for a general purpose, it seems like it's a good step forward.
Absolutely, man. I completely agree with you, and especially for Unreal Engine games. Notorious for that. Like Goat Stimulator, Mighty Number 9, which I played this week. Probably something else. Descent. Wicked. Like, you know it's taking a while when you have enough time to go, is it doing anything? Open up HTOP, and you're like, all right, I guess it's working. Then it eventually starts. It would be nice not to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way. I mean, pre-compiling shaders, that's a good way to reduce loading times. And that's something, I mean, if games are going to run on a single architecture, then yeah, it just makes sense. Why not pre-compile them? The other thing I noticed in these release notes is they say updated Steam runtime prefer host libraries logic to still prefer Steam runtime libraries if they are more recent than a host system. Wait, you can do that? You can build like a runtime based on the version the libraries are? That seems weird because, like I said in the previous story, I do build a runtime as well, which is half based on the Steam runtime, but I didn't know that you could like selectively choose which library you want based on the version. So that's really interesting to me.
I mean, and this really only applies if you're actually still on 12.04 and you just refuse to upgrade to the latest Ubuntu, or you're trying to run Steam on Cent 6 because you're insane.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Steam runtime is very old. That's why, I mean...
but like, this is for libraries that are older than what ships in the runtime. That's a little fucky.
They might have updated some parts of the runtime, because I know, as someone who builds a runtime, I know that I have to selectively pick individual libraries and say, okay, this is too old. I'm going to replace it with something more up to date. And that's something I would be able to do, is detecting if the library from the system is more recent than the one I'm shipping. So if anyone knows about this, I would be really interested in that.
Send us some information on that. But let's get into some gaming bits, because people want to stand next to this pyre. I've heard quite a bit about this. A lot of hype after watching some people play it, and just a bit of recorded game footage. A little bit nonplussed about this. Why should I be so excited like everyone else is?
Well,
you shouldn't, because you're not going to be into this type of game. But if you like squad RPGs like I do, and you like Supergiant, which I do, because I really like Bastion and Transistor, this is something you're going to be looking forward to, or I've been looking forward to at least.
Yeah, I mean, this is to be like very competently done, like Bastion and Transistor, which I didn't play yet, but I'm really looking forward to test this game, because even if it doesn't look like the type of game I would be into, it looks like it's so well done that, yeah, I have to try it. It looks like a genuinely good game. So,
and we do notice that it requires glibc 2.17 plus OS, so FNX.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was the same thing with Transistor and Bastion. They're all Ethan ports.
The one thing I am seeing here is it's local multiplayer only, which I always kind of gives me a sad in 2017, if I'm going to be honest.
I think it's like Final Fantasy, what was it, 5 or 4 had multiplayer on the Super Nintendo. I think it's that style of multiplayer where like one of you controls like the front ranks, one of you controls the rear ranks. It would be nice if it had online, but I don't think people are coming to this game to play it for the online experience.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, that's always a good news because it was a day one Linux support. So, that when Supergiant releases a new game, they're not messing around with like, oh yeah, it might come to Linux one day if we have the resources. No, they ship it right away with Linux, and it's really well done. The art is great. Everything is
the advantage. It's the advantage of just developing using cross-platform tools from Genesis.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, FNA, all that stuff, good stuff.
Well, I mean, it is available now. Currently 19.99 wet sticky American caches. So if that's your thing, dig into it. Hey, we've been waiting for this Full Throttle Remastered. That is right. It is finally here. And it's a Double Fine game that's been remastered. This is not a repeat from Day of the Tentacle. This is also not a repeat from Grim Fandango. Nope. I definitely played this in the DOS ages. And unlike Strider, I don't think I really care to revisit it. It's currently on sale, 33% off. It's regularly $14.99. And this thing should be able to run on a calculator. Yeah, Core 220. Wow, 8 gigs of storage needed for something that originally fit on a 650 meg CD-ROM.
Well, yeah, but those were without the HD graphics and everything. So yeah, I've never played the DOS version because I've never used DOS, but I've played it with ScumVM, and I did really enjoy it. So yeah, if I can play a remastered version, I'm all for it. And I think it's really good to have all the LucasArts games like Day of the Tentacle, Grim Fandango, and all these kind of games get the high-res treatment. And yeah, I mean, I would like to see other games like maybe the Dig or the Indiana Jones games as well. If they could get a high-res version, that would be super great.
I mean, I don't think Indiana Jones. Disney doesn't own the rights to that anymore. That was just Star Wars. Whoever actually owns the rights to Indiana Jones, I don't think they're going to be making.
I think they own all things Lucas now.
Do they? Oh, well, if that's the case, then yeah, I don't think Disney's going to let that actually slide. But that being said, I'd never really got into these sorts of point and click games. Full Throttle, though, it was sort of the genesis of like Tim Schafer's obsession with the heavy metal stuff. It was sort of a proto Brutal Legends before they decided to make it a strategy game, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the thing with Full Throttle, I think Full Throttle was one of like the last, I'm going to come out like 93, 94, somewhere in there. One of the last of the point and click type adventure games. And what I remember, I beat it. I remember doing that business, and it wasn't bad, but, just gaming has moved on, and coming back and revisiting things like Day of the Tentacle or Grim Fandango, it just didn't work, man. Not for me personally. It might have worked.
I like the notion, though, of having these older games updated and being available on Linux, so you at least have the option to play them natively. It's the same thing with like Dragon's Lair. Like, I'm not really itching to play Dragon's Lair at any point, but it's nice to have the option to do that and be able to run a native Linux version.
Yeah, for some reason, Ben wants you to believe that point and click games are dead, which they aren't. I mean, there are plenty
they kind of are, Strider.
No, they really aren't. I mean, there are plenty of recent point and click games, like the Book of Unwritten Tales, for example, there are not only remasters, but there are really good point and click games that are released occasionally, like the Tumbleweed Park that was reviewed a couple of months back. That was really good. I mean, the point and click game, I don't get why it would have to die. And to some extent, the Telltale games do continue on that same style of game. It's a bit different, sure, but it's adapting the genre to a more modern take. This is nonsense. This is pure nonsense. I've heard that again and again from Ben, mainly, that point-and-click games were dead, and they're not. They're not. It's
when was the last time you saw a AAA? When was the last time you saw a AAA point-and-click game from a major publishing studio?
It doesn't have to be AAA to exist.
See, ladies and gentlemen, that's called moving the field goal right there.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It
because,
is.
Tumbleweed was a wide release.
First of all, it's not tumbleweed; it's thimbleweed.
With Thimbleweed.
No, he's talking about OpenSUSE. But anyways, speaking of games that I don't know, we're moving on to Cloud-Based Prime. It is kind of a point and click game insofar as it's first person, so you point at things and click them. It's a platformer / puzzle game / giant walk around. It's mixed between like platforming and environmental manipulation. I sort of like the minimalist style of everything. All the various creatures and whatnot in the trailer seem pretty cool. It looks from what I've read though in the reviews, the complaints seem to be that the gameplay is fairly repetitive, and there's exploring to do, but it all ultimately ends up being the same.
This reminds me. This kind of looks like a trimmed down proto version of what was it? It was the French developer with the towers
Deadcore, yeah.
Deadcore.
One published by Namco.
It looks like that mixed with a game a lot of people won't know. I don't even think it made it to Steam. That was for Linux called Grappling Hook. Kind of a blend of those two genres. What are we at? $9.99. Evil when it does handstands. Okay, it's out. I think this was a single developer that stuck this together, and hey man, SteamOS are 12.04 to get it up and running, so
yeah, it looks like a really cool first person puzzle platformer, and this is something I know I could enjoy. So whenever I get the chance, maybe when it comes in a bundle or when it goes on sale, I will pick this up because it looks like something I would want to try out. It looks
one thing I did notice when you flashed the requirements tab, that apparently the Linux requirements require a DirectX 9 or capable or higher capable video card.
Oh yes, that's quite the
so you got to be on the Mesa drivers, guys. Sorry. Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
All right.
Anyways.
Yeah, the next one is from the developers from that game. Those guys reviewed last week, which was Jotun.
So,
or Jotun, if you want.
Jotun. You don't pronounce the J.
Okay. Whatever. And this one is Sundered, which is more like a Metroidvania style of game, which gets me really, really interested because I really like Metroidvanias. Like, well, I'll talk about this later on. But yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. It seems really well done. This is something I want to try, and this looks like a really great game. What about
I mean, hopefully they've refined their combat from Jotun, because that was a little rotten. It rhymed. So clever.
The combat was alright.
Hush you, I'm talking. But I really do like their visual aesthetic, though. They have a really cool art style that I am very much a fan of.
This definitely looks like something that, yes, I dig the art style. If they get the controls right, good times will be had by all. If they fuck that up, that's definitely going to be on them. Looking forward to it, because I always enter everything with hope. And yeah, just bring it. We'll see how it is. I like how it looks. We got to see how it plays, and maybe good times will be had by all. Descent Underground. This thing's been in early access since, geez, man, what, 2013? At least 2014. They have a Down Under demo, and dang, it's a Concord 3370 update. Not a whole lot in this. The big thing is players can now start matches on servers in Space Australia. So, Foxy, you, unfortunately, I don't think anybody else would own it in there.
Maybe Klinka?
Maybe Klinka. And they've added a Tartarus as a new map. I played that. This is Descent, made by not the original Descent team, but a studio that owns the rights to the name. So it's kind of like half-assed Descent, really, is what you have here. It's still not horrible. It's the first game that we've seen on Steam using Unreal Engine 4. So it still has some performance issues, and they don't fucking test their Linux builds, apparently, because after the update, it was like a day later, I tried to log in, and their unnecessary authenticator on top of Steam was just jacked. And I got that and hit them on Twitter, and they're like, oh, right, QA, we didn't do that. We pushed out a patch, though. It should work now. Then it worked, and I loaded it, played the new map. It's really dark, seems to perform a little bit better. But outside of that, man, but Strider, it's getting some glowing reviews lately.
Yeah, I mean, I've played this game. I remember playing against you and kicking your ass. Okay, yeah, if I remember correctly. But the latest reviews are harsh. And it seems to boil down to the fact that this game is in early access and doesn't deliver on everything they promised. And their latest announcement, it seems like they're really, really close to shipping a final product, but there's not that much to it. I mean, it doesn't have everything you would expect from a decent game. And that's mainly because it's mainly focused on multiplayer, whereas in Descent, you would have a single-player campaign. And I don't know. I mean,
no, I completely agree with everything you just said. I mean, it wasn't until like the beginning of this year or dead end of last year that in the single-player campaigns, the bots did more than just stare at walls. They have not made a lot of progress in the past few years. And that's one thing about this update is we're going to try to streamline our progress, streamline our development process. Okay, after 4 years.
Yeah, I haven't tested this build. Last time I've played was maybe a year ago or something, maybe even longer. I remember having fun with it. It's a fun game, and if you're into multiplayer Descent, then okay, yeah. If you're into single player, then maybe stick to Descent, the DX Rebirth open source engine, or the Linux native Descent 3 port. Yeah, maybe stick to that. They didn't seem to focus a lot on single player.
Well, so, and again, I mean, these are not the guys, but the developers behind the Descent series. I forget the name of their title. I believe they have a title right now in early access as well. I don't know if it's on Linux though.
Is it Interplay?
I think Interplay is dead.
No, it's.
Yeah, I think they're dead. Yeah.
Guess what? It's not the company. It's the people behind.
Yeah.
Descent.
The people.
Yeah.
No, they're all dead too. I killed them.
They're all dead.
All right. Anyway, moving on.
Oh yeah, it's party time, you guys! Party panic. They're finally leaving early access. We have another one who has finally taken the trip, got on the boat, head to the west, to the undying lands of actual 1.0. It's coming out August 7th. This is just the announcement for it. This is just a collection of couch multiplayer partying games in the sort of vein of your Mario parties or what have you. So rip your analog stick if you're actually going to be playing this. They do have a drinking game mode, then, don't they?
Possibly. I don't know. I mean, the only thing I'm interested in with this is scrolling down online multiplayer, but I don't know how many slots are available. So, I mean, it could make for some interesting after shows and bait. $16.99. That's
It's a little steep, yeah.
Yeah, it's something we might want to pick up on sale, and this is something
or wait for Foxy to buy it for us.
Yeah, and it might be a bit more fun if played with local multiplayer instead of online multiplayer. But that's if you get people to get.
See, Strider, you play around with different IRL people than I do. Local multiplayer with people near me and with the types of people that I play video, it's danger zone right there.
You ever try to garrote a man with a controller cord?
I like playing speedrunners local multiplayer, so.
Because if I'm playing multiplayer, throwing a controller at your opponent is completely within bounds. I mean, that's not.
Yeah. Or putting them in an armbar or something like that.
Yeah.
Choking them out until like the blood ceases to flow to their brain. It's all good. Coming up next.
If it's got a drinking game, then you want local multiplayer instead of online. That makes sense, right?
I'm pretty sure if there's a drinking game involved, at least with this crew, we want to keep it online only. Otherwise, shenanigans will ensue. But coming up next, we discuss Jira workflows. And oh god, am I in a meeting? Is this Monday? Am I at work again? Fuck!
Welcome back to the news. It's kind of brilliant. A little bit terrifying. But Jordan, before we get into it, I think, just maybe, we should thank everyone making the show possible.
We absolutely should, because you see, instead of having ad reads for companies that don't really care about you, we have one giant-ass ad read in the middle of the show telling you to just pay us directly. You can do that by heading on over to LinuxGameCast.com, clicking that support the show button. We got all sorts of wonderful avenues for you to give us money. We got Amazon affiliate links, so you can go shopping on Amazon. Or, better yet, if you want to double up, you can buy us something on our Amazon wish list through our affiliate link. And then give us the full double dip. It's a bit mental. If you do buy some stuff off the Amazon the wish list, then you get to go on the fuck wall. Frank isn't here, is he?
Man, Frank just ran out for a hot second, but it was kind of miserable. He'll trust me. He'll probably be back before the end of the show. We can show everything off. Really, really, really want to thank everyone. Think of all of our beautiful party patrons. Hope you enjoy a bunch of the cool stuff that we do that's extra just for the patrons. Extra show. Just put out a kind of a new thing, a bonus soda of our decompression after that stupid monkey hour long of trying to beat one level of Left 4 Brad Thursday or Friday when we did that Nightmare Fuel. But those Amazon affiliate links, man. Double thanks for everyone shopping through that. Doesn't cost you a dime. We get some jingle jangle. And in fact, that jingle jangle picked up J-Baby's humbucker, because he's got a little hum on his live stream, so that should get that sorted.
Hopefully by Monday it should arrive. But, there are other ways to support us if you wanted to go the direct funding route, those PayPal buttons in the support page. But you can also go to patreon.com/LinuxGameCast. Doing so, you can give us money, you get access to our Discord. It's kind of nuts. We have so many videos that are Patreon exclusive. There is, legitimately a lot of content there. You get quite a bit of bang for your buck. And, if we don't put a show in any given week...
Are you trying to imply that we have 227 Patreon-only posts?
I know. It's kind of crazy.
Madness.
But, there's 110 of you giving us 192 a week. That's pretty mental. We got some new lovely people. We got Aloran. Apparently, the Elven Court of Elrond wants to give us some gold. And Rando Corinthian. He gave us some money over PayPal. I'm pretty sure. I wanted to totally read that as Rando Calrissian, but that is not this guy's name at all. But yeah, no. Giving us 250 show gets you access to the show notes. So you can see the show as it gets made. If you give us a lot of money, what was it, $15?
I don't know.
You can. Yeah, it was.
We're not really good at marketing, guys.
Well, that's what. If you give us $10 when we do our crazy after shows and shenanigans, you get a reserved seat. That's pretty cool. But let's get on to the.
Well, hang on. I do want to think. It's kind of a thing because we do the bitcoins, right? Bitcoins.
Right.
And one person who sent us some micro Bitcoin MBTCs. Still learning about this. Was Inertia. You're going to be on the fuck wall, buddy, because I finally got around, because he's like, hey man, here's from MBTC, here's a couple bucks. He's like, go buy yourself something nice. I ain't going to buy myself shit. I'm going to buy something for the show, which I did. I ordered us some new DACs and that keypad. So using Purse, which he also suggested, and that works out good. We were able to convert magic internet monies to real things that we're going to use to make the show better for everyone checking this business out. I want to thank you for that.
Last thing, yes, just $8, and we can play
Saracen 3. You're not gonna. You had to.
You shut your whore mouth.
Yes,
before
$8.
I slap it shut.
It's like 8 people just give $1 and we'll get to play Series M3, and I really want to play Series M3.
$8 away, then we're going to have
I really
eight. Then
8.
Jordan's going to hate it so much, and it's not just going to be the three. It's not just going to be the three of us, is it? No, isn't it like 16 player that we can invite in?
We're going to break the fuck out of Serious Sam 3. That is the only redeeming thing, is I get to see that game fail in a hilariously just obscene way. When you should stick around. Maybe when we do Sam in the after shows, and it just gets all sorts of mental. So
especially with the experimental Vulkan render, it's going to be brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now we get to play like the Series M3 Fusion. Like you get extra value on top of this.
All right. Let's go.
All right. Strider, tell us about Git workflow.
So CryEngine, it's been more or less in, not sure if we can call this open source, but it's pretty close.
Oh, don't you dare call it open source.
I mean, it's not fully open source because it doesn't have an open source license, but it's here on GitHub. And now you can submit pull requests to the project. And right now they're testing the grounds. So they won't accept like big patches for like critical stuff. But if you got some like trivial reformatting or patches, then they will probably accept it. What I'm expecting from this is, given a company that doesn't really want to support Linux, and I haven't seen anything from the CryEngine guys that would make me believe that they want to support Linux, then this is a really good way to have solid Linux support on an engine, like we've seen with Epic and Unreal Engine. So I really like this way of doing things. This is the best way of handling an engine because the companies behind the engine, like CryEngine or Epic, they don't really have the resources to do real Linux support, and they give that to the community to do.
Oh yeah, man! Small little mom and pop. No, CryEngine probably doesn't at this point. I'm surprised that's still around. Saying Epic and Unreal Engine doesn't have the coin to do proper support, man. You're just lying to people, man. They do if they wanted to.
If they really wanted to, they could. Yeah.
And here's the thing, like Strider said, you can only really push trivial changes, which is it's basically chump work. So they can validate their procedure, quote unquote. Maybe you should hammer that out, have some proper development methodologies, maybe use some sort of pull architecture. But anyways, they're only accepting submissions currently on the pull request branch. So what you put in may not, number one, you're not going to get the access to the latest and greatest stuff. Number two, it's all just going to get merged in anyways. I read through this article and learned their Jira flow, and now I hate myself because I already had to do that for my paying job.
One thing that even caused me to throw this in the show notes is the guy behind Star Citizen, the game that will probably never come out. The only mention they've ever really made of Linux is he was asked, will we ever see it on Linux? He's like, well, as soon as CryEngine gets a proper OpenGL support for Linux, which we'll probably see by next week, but we'll never see that on Linux. So don't hold your breath, ladies and gentlemen.
It doesn't have anything to do with OpenGL because I think they're going full Vulkan now. I mean, yeah.
So now they're just going to be like, it's too hard to support Linux because reasons.
Yeah, we've decided to use DX12.
There's Vulkan. They don't really care about DX12 anymore. So yeah, I think this is going to be a great Vulkan engine, and I hope they will ship. That's the other thing, though, because we'll get a bunch of games that will be released on the CryEngine. And we will kind of expect Linux support, but we won't have Linux support. Just as
here's the problem with that is the workflow for that is click export, make sure it launches in a virtual machine. You can't really get CryEngine games to run in a virtual machine, so that's what's stopping these people. But anyways, up next, it's Humble time.
It is Humble time. Check it out. Unlike last week, Linux support. Saints Row more,
quote unquote Linux support.
More Saints Row and Homefront, which never will never come to, and a pre-order because fuck you, that's why it's not for Linux. Really, the only reason I care about this, pay more than the average, you get, if you pay more than $5.64 at time of broadcast, you get Mighty Number 9, which I've never seen really drop below 15 quid. Somewhere in there.
It came like seven quids or something like that on sale. It went really low a few weeks back. That said, I want to test out Mighty Number 9. I want to test out the Windows games as well because I want to provide installers for Lutris. But what I'm really interested in is I would like to know if whether or not we'll see a Linux version of Homefront Revolution because it's been promised.
Brought to you by Virtual Programming. That's.
I don't care. It can be virtual programming or not. I only want to know if it will ship on Linux. And, because it probably doesn't run on Wine right now because it's DirectX 11 and all that stuff. So, and I would like to know if I'm paying, because this is the only reason why I would pay the full price for the bundle, like ignoring the pre-order, but the full price, because I already have the Central games. And yeah, there's this Homefront Revolution, which I'm really interested in. And I don't know, will it come out for Linux? Will it not?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I picked up a copy and I bought Pedro a copy because he kind of blew all of his money moving to Britannia. Interesting thing. You can't redeem the Mighty Number 9 key in the UK.
Huh.
Yeah. We kind of were like, ain't that some shit? He's like, what? Send me a screenshot. It's like, what the hell? Well, then I even like mathed out because I paid quite a bit more than the average because I was like, pound to dollar convert,
It makes sense because Mighty Number 9 is a pretty violent game. It has like a whole lot of like gore and sex and what you would expect from a 2D platformer.
I think you're thinking of Mighty Number 69. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and it's compared to the Central games, which are like really like politically correct.
Well, it was definitely a thing. I think our workaround is if somebody's got a cup of VPN that Pedro can borrow for like 8 minutes, not even 8 minutes, but, a minute and a half, we can get that. Because we eventually want to review Mighty Number 9. That's definitely a game that is just been shit all over. And the little bit I've played, not quite as much dog shit as I was led to believe. I'm not saying it's great, though. So
I think the issue with Mighty Number 9 though was that it was just underwhelming for what the hype was, as opposed to outright bad.
I've never trusted the reviews that said like, oh, "Okay, this game is trash. Don't buy it." And no, I don't believe it's trash. I just believe that it's just not what people wanted, and it's been like the promotion for this game was awful, and it's been oversold. So.
I also like how they literally just shipped you a box that you needed to fold if you packed that level.
And the instructions though were too big to go into the box. So
I know it's a bit mental, but you know what also is mental? Stage 9. This is a neat little project that's done on Unreal Engine. It is attempting to be a full recreation of the NCC 1701D, the USS Enterprise, as captained by Mr. Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart. They're going through. It looks like they're going through like one of the official like deck plans and like just reproducing it in Unreal Engine. So you can go on the turbolift. You can check out the battle bridge, engineering, the holodecks. It's kind of bullshit that the holodecks are empty because I want to be able to like launch this game within the holodeck and just go like full Inception on this. One thing I was curious about though was I wanted to know how their simulated fish was, and I went into Picard's ready room. There were no fish. I feel cheated. I feel really angry. It's really cool though. There's like a lot of detail and a lot of hard work. Like they went through it basically looks like they have like a Windows VR version, and I could imagine this is like.
Well, it could definitely be a thing. A, try to restart your video. B, can you get tea Earl Grey hot?
You can't. I was trying to poke everything. You have to remap the controls too because it uses the arrow keys for navigation, which is idiotic. Strider, I gotta disagree with you because it is not smooth at all on Epic settings. It is chuggy as balls. I had to knock down the mouse sensitivity. It was just constant chug. And I got the NVMe drive. I got like the brand new i7, 32 gigs of RAM. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, you have to disable motion blur, and once you do that, even if you push the game into the Epic settings, it will just run fine. And it's kind of weird, but at this point, I believe this is more of a tech demo than anything else. But still, it was very smooth, played without any problems. That said, I mean, I don't really know what they're going for with this game, but I haven't seen any elements of gameplay in this. So, yeah, I mean, I said, okay, this is either a tech demo or it
literally says the project is just to recreate all the sets in TNG.
Yeah, it is. So it is an actual walking simulator, unlike say, Gone Home or Firewatch, which are.
No, this definitely appears to have more gaming elements in it than Gone Home.
No. Gone Home is an actual adventure game, but this has no like actual gaming elements. So I guess this is really meant for the VR experience. And did
you try out the shuttle? Because apparently you can hop in that and fly around in it. I couldn't get that working.
I haven't tried this. I mean, I've seen something that were like shuttle launch pods, but I don't know anything about Star Trek. I have never watched Star Trek, so.
You know what they say. May the force be with you.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Let's talk about this webpage that will cause your CPU at 4 gigahertz to tap 69%.
Yeah, they have the HTML5 video integrated into the page. Now, this is installation 01. My buddy Sharpie sent me this. This is actually kind of interesting. They're attempting to recreate the Halo multiplayer using Unity and Vulkan, which is pretty neat because Halo multiplayer was actually pretty fun, and being able to play this on Linux would be cool. It actually has the blessings of 343 Studios. So even though Microsoft still actually owns the rights to Halo, all right, no, actually no, that is 340. Yeah, that 343 is the Microsoft-owned subsidiary. So they are okay with this. We don't expect this to be taken down anytime soon. They don't have anything you can actually check out unless you want to join and contribute to the project. But I just threw this in because it would be nice to have some Halo on the Linuxes.
Yeah, I mean, you can play Halo on Wine if you want, the first one. But yeah, this thing seems to be like a decently made game. But if you go to the download page, you see a big soon.
Spoon!
Yeah, it's not there yet. So I want to try this out. I don't know when we'll be able to. But yeah, just hope that it will come out okay.
Yeah, honestly, man, I've never played Halo in any... Oh, that's a lie. For like the original Xbox, I was over at someone's house for a party, and they were playing. They had them networked. I guess that was a thing with the original Xbox. And I tried to play, I guess, the original Halo in multiplayer. First time I've ever done any type of first-person shooter with a controller. That lasted maybe 2.5, 3 minutes, and I got murder rated. And I handed the Xbox controller back with a very clear statement of, if I had a keyboard and mouse, all y'all's bitches would be dead.
That's interesting because I've been playing Halo on Wine, the first one, the same one who played, and I kind of enjoy playing with controller. So this is
that's because you're sick in the head.
I am. I know I am, but this is one of the few games I can play with a controller and feels kind of all right. I still do a bit better with a keyboard and mouse, but if I'm just in bed and I want to play a FPS, I'll play Halo on Wine. It will just work out all right.
All right. Speaking of consoles, though.
PS3, its thing. We keep talking about this because they keep doing things that are new and interesting. And hey, man, app images are now available for Linux. What's this about?
Yeah, so they've been pushing a bunch of updates to our PCS 3, and you've talked about it on the past shows, like Vulkan, Qt, all that kind of good stuff. But the thing is, you can't build our PCS 3 unless you have a very recent distribution. So that includes Arch Linux, OpenSUSE Tumbleweed, and Fedora 26. As
I can build this, no fucking issue.
But on Ubuntu, Debian, or any other stuff, you can't because you don't get Qt.
That's a lie because I know for a fact Pedro's built it and posted screenshots.
You can because if you jump through hoops and you get
I hate to break this to you, Pedro's lazy as fuck, man. He didn't jump through any hoops to get it done.
Well, you'd still have to get Qt for 5.8, and that doesn't exist in Ubuntu, so you still have to do that. And I haven't had anyone send a script to me or anything like this. So right now, App Image is the best option you got to get our PCS 3 running like on Ubuntu. And that's something I will use because I don't want to build something that relies on a Qt version I don't have. I don't want to build Qt from source. So that's very welcome. That's a very nice move. I approve of that. And now the only question that's left is who will play Strider first flawlessly? So will it be Wine or will it be our PCS 3? I don't know.
Strider, I'm pretty sure that the person who has played you flawlessly is us. We play you all the time. Like a a fiddle. But they I'm actually kind of surprised. Under Linux, they're saying that only DualShock 4 controllers
they initially were talking some smack at it. I started to say something, and that's what I just noticed was like, yeah, that got crossed out. Yeah.
Yes, once they figured out that yes, Xinput does in fact exist under Linux. We have a kernel module for it. Even it's kind of mental. It's kind of how the Steam controller works too. That's Windows exclusive. My ass. The other nice thing is right now they have full support for Mesa Vulkan as well. So if you're on Radeon or Intel, you can play some PlayStation 3 games as well. Probably a little bit slow. But
last time I tried RPCS 3, I had to build a profile for the Steambox controller, and then I would get proper controller support. But before that, I don't know how it is now, but if it got proper controller support, that's very good. I don't have to mess around with SD controller anymore. Really nice.
And hell, nowadays you don't have to fuck around with Wine to get Oblivion working. We're just waiting on the emulated Skyrim to get working, and then I guess you still don't have mods. But
hey, man, did they do Skyrim on PS3? I think they did.
They straight up did, yeah. Yeah. So there you go, Dovahkiin. All right, up next we got Alpha 22 for 0 AD Venustus. They have a couple refactors with their networking now. They're using stun, so you can set up servers without needing to configure port forwardings. They've redone art for a bunch of units. And the really neat thing is now they have in-map scripting. So they have a couple maps now with some terrain elements like flooding or drought that you have to play around. And it adds, or like volcanoes or whatnot, and it can add an interesting little dimension to your match, where the other opponent is the environment itself, because the planet doesn't care about you puny humans. Your civilization is not but a blink in the tail of this rock floating through space.
Yeah, speaking of opponents, they didn't mention anything about AI and its balancing, because everyone I've heard talking about 0 AD said, okay, the AI is unbalanced It's very hard to play against the AI. It's very good if you want to play like PvP. That's no problem. That's very good. But if you introduce a bot player, either it will be too easy or too hard. And usually it's too hard.
It's definitely a mix of one of the two. Yes, it can either count to potato or it will skull fuck you.
Exactly.
Yeah, there needs to be a middle ground for that, definitely. But yeah, where Zero AD really shines is PvP when you're playing against other people, and I think that's what it's made for. But you know, this game has grown along with our show. When we first started covering the game, like way back when,
you were voicing the trailer.
I was doing the trailer. There was that, and on top of that, like even connecting with multiplayer, you had to enter each other's IP address. I mean, it was old school, man. But good on Wildfire for keeping this project alive. It just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, and it is one of the most like evolved and polished open source games. And if it's not the most polished open source game out there, I mean, it's been like it had a bunch of updates, and it's still in alpha, and it looks better than most games. So good on them for that. I mean, it's really fun to play online with friends and all that stuff. If you want to play, you have to like reserve like a bunch of hours. Like if you want to play, you'll have to. It will last like for 3 or 4 hours.
Right. This is
so it's about a third of the length of any given Civilization game.
Right. It's definitely Civilization. But speaking of alphas, Godot is back.
Oh yeah, we're waiting no longer. This is just a sample of what's going to be released. It's not feature complete yet, but they have released the 3.0 alpha for the Godot engine. They have a couple things they list on their that are being implemented, but the big controversial whoop-de-hoo is no Vulkan support. They're saying we have no plans to support Vulkan. I talk English good. They have no English. They have no English. God damn it, Jordan. Fuck me. They have no plan to support Vulkan in the near future, and it makes sense. Because they got to focus on features, they got to focus on functionality that people are going to use, and they want to retain compatibility with, say, iOS, Macs, and so on. So you got to use their gimped OpenGL version, which I believe is 3.0 or 3.3 ES. So
it's not, yeah. It's OpenGL ES 2.0, and the corresponding OpenGL version is 3.1, I think. Yeah, I mean, they are one of their main targets.
They say in the article ES 3.0 Shredder. So
yeah, yes, 3.0. That's what I said.
Three. You said 2.
Mm-hmm. You said 2.
3. Okay, 3.0. That's what it is.
In your native language.
And yeah, I mean, this makes sense because they want to target the iPad, they want to target the iPhone, and these devices are the only devices not to have Vulkan. How sad is that? But yeah,
I mean, if they really wanted to target these devices, if you're targeting a Mac, or especially if you're targeting mobile, and you want to do something more impressive than your basic 2D games, you're going to have to start looking at Metal. If you just are, man. I mean, OpenGL has been great. It's been our buddy. But if you're not doing Vulkan, you got to be doing Metal. I mean, unless you're saying that everyone else doing games is dirt.
OpenGL ES is still very established, just as OpenGL is still here.
Oh, no, it's great. It's been a friend for a long time. I'm just saying it's not the future.
It's not the future, no. I mean,
which is why I'm holding out for Godot to start supporting DirectX 12, which is the real shit.
Well, one of the things, I saw Foxy, he brought up, he's like, well, they're starting with their 3D stuff. And that's good, but nope, I have not seen anything in Godot that was 3D yet. I mean, I'm sure it's out there. I just haven't seen it, and it doesn't seem like it's typically used to create 3D games.
That's the plan, making it a more compelling 3D engine with.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to really, lure the kiddies in when it's like, oh, do you support the latest renderers? And like, yeah, we got the OpenGL. And like, maybe, but everybody else has got the Vulkan. I don't know. It's a great project. I love it. We're gonna see how this goes. I'm glad they're making progress. All right, that's what they're doing, right?
One last thing. Okay, two things. So first, the announcement was made by fellow contributor Remy Akian Verscheldle.
Sounds like a close personal friend of yours.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it is, but I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But yeah, he works on Lotrace, he works on Mageia, the Mandriva successor. And yeah, he also works on Godot. So that's awesome. And the other thing is they plan to have Mono/C# support landing really soon, but it's not there yet. It's working, it's there, but it's not merged yet. So if you want to use Mono or the C# for your Godot game, you can, but if you want to use it with the 3.0, you still have to fetch some third-party dependencies.
Seems legit. All right, and to round out this bit, Vin, do you ever get tired of buying games off Steam?
Oh boy, do I. If there was only a solution that we could have. Oh, is it called Gimli or Gimli? I don't know. I'm gonna go.
I would say Gemly just because GE.
Yeah, all right.
And my axe.
Yes, the creators of the Dying Light series and Dead Island have launched their own game store because fucking reasons, son. That's really all I got for this. When I first looked at it, it was like, just like a Windows-only game store in 2017. Fascinating. Then I did a bit of poking around, see if you check out like Alien Isolation, you can pop in there and be like, oh nope, it only runs on Windows. And I'm like, what? But then you go to one of their games from Techland. It has Linux support listed. It's like, what the hell? What type of moon universe is this? And it's a thing, but you got to help me out here. What's the deal? Because all this does is just another outlet that gives you Steam keys. So what are we accomplishing?
I think this is similar to what Feral does with their Feral store. So they have a way of selling their games on their own websites. So yeah, I'm guessing it's not any more than that.
Well, here's the thing, though, Brad. Other people are selling their games on their web zone too.
Yeah,
are they Techland published ones though? Because Techland does publish games in addition to making stuff.
Well, it might be Techland published. I don't know.
The weird thing is, okay, Techland, they make Dead Island. And Dead Island...
Bastion, Dungeons, Injustice, Killing Floor 2, Lego games.
Dead Island, it's one of their flagship games. And Dead Island is not on there. Why? This is something fishy right here.
Shadow of Mordor, Mad Max, Mortal Kombat.
Those are not
The Witcher.
Those are not Techland games. Okay, next thing is they do have Linux version of games like Dying Light is one of them. Tides of Numerama, like I call it, is on there as well.
Numerama, by the way, is the name of my next Numenera campaign. So.
Why can't it be Tides of Numa?
That would destroy us. That would destroy us all, man. You can't handle it.
So the thing is, I've noticed they were all fancy with the web design. I really like it. Done well. But I found a bug, a responsive design bug, just a couple of minutes after I've browsed the sites, like a couple of minutes, and I found that either it's a bug or Destructoid really likes Alien Isolation because they gave the game 20 star out of 5.
How many chairs is that?
It's like 1,000.
Well,
1,000
yeah,
chairs.
let me see if I can bring it up for the beautiful people. There it is.
Yeah, like all the chairs, all the stars. And Alien Isolation is a really good game. It deserves all those stars.
Well, I mean, then again, it is Destructoid, so they could have just like cut them a check, and those 20 stars were legit. I mean, legit. Huh?
It's very possible.
It's a very good game. It's a really good game.
I don't know if this is supposed to be the Techland direct funding by.
No, the thing is, if you go to the web page and you resize the window, it goes back to 5 stars.
Well, welcome back to Linux Web Design Cast with your host. No, but I mean, yeah, it's another one of these stores. If you want to support Techland, I guess they do publish quite a few games for Linux, so there is definitely that.
Exactly.
Definitely,
I'm actually going to say don't support them until they fix their busted ass multiplayer and all of their Linux ports of all of their Dead Island series, including Dying Light.
Yes.
Dying Light
Okay.
works
This is a true fact, but. I think this podcast is just about to peak. Demon peak, anyways. Stay tuned for the CHAIRQUISITION. When you go to hell and you start trying to take a gander at Satan, that's what we call a demon peak. This is also Demon Peak from Kayak Games. It's built on a monogame-based engine, so it's not quite FNA, but it's using the same core. You can pick it up for about $5. What is it? In Demon Peak, you play as a nameless warrior trapped in the depths of an unholy mountain, as opposed to Jodorowsky's Holy Mountain. Explore the mysterious and perilous environments, fight against a multitude of different enemies, and gather magical abilities to overcome the mountain's evil inhabitants. These guys did send us some copies. Good on them for that. So it faces the CHAIRQUISITION. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that it's pretty good. 4 chairs means that it's just so good. I need to go towel myself off. Give me a minute. And we also got our categories to do, mixed with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So let's kick this off, because it is hot as balls in here. Then, makers of the working, Demon Peak. Go.
Ubuntu 1604 box business LTS 8150 with a 980 display to UHD, which I don't bother with the hipster pixel nonsense doing that. Well, didn't have too many issues. Like Strider will point out, this critter does lock onto your default sound sync and it refuses to let go. And it's kind of a legit problem. Since most people have speakers and a headset, headphones, something like that, if I have to quit your game, change my default sync, then restart, you done goof, son. You did. You're getting dinged a chair for that. And something to keep in mind, this could be one of the multitude of reasons that you don't see many people streaming Demon's Peak. So, out of the gate, we're talking 3.
Yeah, on Fedora 2664-bit with the i7-6700K GTX 980 and the NVMe drive. The loading takes forever. I have no idea why, especially because this is coming off the NVMe drive that I copied 500 gigs to in under 10 minutes. So that's a little fucky. Beyond that, everything worked out of the box perfectly well, so I'll give it 4.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried playing this game on my TV and didn't work out. I mean, it worked fine, and I couldn't change the sound output to go to my TV. And I have this exact same issue with speedrunners. I mean, that's a pretty minimal issue. And that's the only thing I've noticed. I mean, I just like Van pointed out, this is a mono game. This is not Unity. And for some reason, they do ship Windows and Mac version of the game with your Linux build. So, yeah, I mean, other than that, everything just works just fine. So I'm just going to give it just 4 chairs.
All right, well, that's 3 chairs for mix with the working. Up next was the shiny and the sounds. Ben, how did it look? How did it sound?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is semi-well-done hipster pixel 2D art. The main character kind of looks out of place or maybe from a different game. Everything for as your color palette, what you're looking at, is brown mixed with varying shades of dark. Not much to look at. It's not fugly, but so about the sound effects, kind of meh, and the background noise, the music, if you want to call it that, very short loop on that business, kind of causing me to take off my headsets and put them somewhere other than my ears. Here's the thing. It's not lazily done. I got to give you that. Definitely put some work into it. It kind of looks like something. Maybe a hybrid between a Neo Geo game and something with the color palette of a Genesis. But it's not perfect. Doesn't do anything original. And that big gear tack sounds, all right, they're kind of there. Your background music, I see where you tried. An effort was made. I'll give you that. And for that, I'm going to give you 3 chairs.
Yeah, at this point, you got to be pulling something like a Hyper Light Drifter or an Owlboy and have a rad-ass soundtrack to make me give you more than 2 chairs if you got a hipster pixel game. I mean, everything is competently done. It has that sort of Castlevania meets Ninja Gaiden mashup appearance to it. And I have no real issues with the soundtrack or the graphics, really. It's just really meh. It's unremarkable. And at this point, hipster pixel has been done to death. You got to start doing something to push what people can, push the envelope, push the borders a little bit. Make me go, wow, this is legitimately pretty. Otherwise, you get.
Yeah, this is something really, really close to what you will actually get on a 16-bit console like the Super Nintendo or the Genesis. And I will go and say that has more of a Genesis vibe to it. For some reason, I mean, I have no reason to say that, but yeah, this would be released on the Sega, and this would seem legit. As you would expect, there's not a whole lot of options for graphic settings, but you can go crazy with the scanlines options. You can give it like color filters, like change the width of the scanlines and all that kind of stuff. It's really well done. And on top of the graphics that are really good, the music is excellent. The music, like, it's totally what you would expect from a Metroidvania style of game, but each track is unique and it has its own style, which really fits to its environment. And for most part, it has this Castlevania feel to it. But for other levels, it has this kind of Super Metroid vibe. And I really, really like the music. Yeah, and on top of that, if that wasn't good enough, the save points are giant cats in rooms with smaller cats. So, yeah, this gets 4 chairs all the way, and it deserves it.
So,
very well done.
We just learned that Strider is infested with Toxoplasma gondii and is suffering from toxoplasmosis. Anyways, we get 3 chairs for shining the sounds. Up next is Control.
Hey, let's just be honest, I'm kind of spoiled by Hollow Knight because Hollow Knight has proven that you can have tight, responsive controls in 2017. This has neither. You know, out of the box, check this business out. It binded movement to the analog stick of all things on my X-Clone controller. However, everything is rebindable in this hipster pixel business. So you don't get 1 chair for this. And I don't like using these words, but this is something that definitely needs the controls tightened up. This is a precision platformer, and it doesn't have precision controls. Completely serviceable controls, but there is that little bit of delay between the press and between the movement that is not the gold standard set by Hollow Knight. So I will say, out of the box, it did work with the X-Clone controller. I was able to rebind from the analog back to the D-pad where you'd want to play it giggity, and didn't have any issues with that. So functional 2 chairs.
Yeah, I get that they want you to be able to moonwalk dash, but number one, the dash is really just for running away. It doesn't let you actually dodge enemies, which is really, really not fun. But I'm not a fan of the way they implemented it by default. If you want the context dash, where you just dash forwards and backwards based on what direction you're facing, you gotta enable it in the menu. The general movement and attacking is fine, though. The issues I have is for those jumps where you have to jump in and out and up and down and around through all these various obstacles. When you start needing to do those jumps, the controls really start. It really starts to expose the lack of general, as Ben said, tightness. There's like this weird delay. I find calibrating those jumps really, really annoying, especially when you're getting shot at and you only have like a split second to readjust and then you just die. You do that a lot in this game, by the way. You just die. So it's very serviceable. They give you the option to rebind, so you can rebind stuff to your preference. But still, I'm going to give it 2.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot to disagree with here, because controls are exactly what you would expect from a game you would get on a 16-bit era console like the Super Nintendo or the Genesis. Not quite the Genesis, because it requires more buttons than the Genesis has. But I started playing the game with the Xbox controller. It was really good, really responsive. And then I switched to the Super Nintendo. Well, not really Super Nintendo, but the Buffalo Super Nintendo lookalike controller that is a Super Nintendo clone controller. And it was even better. It's really tight. It's really responsive. It's really anything you would want to. And if it doesn't fit you, you can rebind anything. That said, I didn't have anything to rebind because the defaults were really good. Even when you switch from controller to controller, it's using SDL2. So it will remap the controller just the way you want it to be. And you won't have to remap stuff based on what controller you're currently using. That's really, really good. I haven't had any problems with the controls. Really good. And it gets 4 chairs for me.
All right. Well, that is 2 whole chairs for the controls. Let's round this off. Ben, did you enjoy Demon Peak?
Here is the subjective opinion part of the thing. Hey, man, check this out. You know what? Your furry save points really failed, just absolutely do fail to jive with the rest of the game. No hate. I'm just saying. So, prepare yourself because Dark Souls comparison is incoming. Why question mark? Because Demon Peak is Dark Souls hard. And developers. Dark Souls is a great series, despite it being unforgivably fuck you hard. Not because of it, okay? You can't slap a YOLO difficulty filter on your game and expect it to garner the same amount of respect and attention as Dark Souls. Take a shot every time I say Dark Souls. Another major problem with this game is the map, because your map sucks donkey arse. And I have no idea, none, where the hell I'm at. Then I saw the speedrunning setting. Yes, there's a speedrun setting. Seriously, if I see that setting, you just told me that your game was designed from the ground up to allow me to bullshit my way past enemies. And guess what? You can. But most importantly, at the end of the day, if you build a game with speedrunning in mind, you miss the goddamn point, son. The shite is only remotely interesting because people have found ways to hack around games that were never meant to be beat in a certain amount of time. If you're building a game for it to be speedrun, it's just not cool, man. But speaking of enemies, that you can just fuck over in this game, jump over, go around, pay them no attention, because speedrunning, I would like a little bit of hit back. And I know the engine's capable of it because that one guy with the spear whacked me halfway across the fucking map while the other ones don't do shit. That makes it a little bit difficult. What do you have here? You have kind of a Castlevania light on a budget. I don't like using Metroidvania. You got some shit you can collect, abilities, your standard abilities. You start, you get an upgraded attack, then you get fucking wings. And I guess somewhere later in the game, maybe you'll get the ability to dash while in air. That would have been helpful out of the gate. But
you didn't get that.
Yeah. Listen, man, it's wicked cheap. Again, this is not a lazy lazily done game. It's got all the parts that could have made something really fun and entertaining, but I didn't ever rage quit this game. I've closed this game with a Vulcan nerve pinch of Alt F4 on multiple occasions. I like to call it a meh quit, or like, fuck this game. Quit, and I have to come back because we have to put the time into it for the review. I even sat down this morning to give it another go, and then you just end up in this intentional fuck box of like, see how hard it is? It's like, see how quick I'm closed your game? Thanks for the review. If I'd bought this, I would have returned this shit within 30 minutes. And I'm not making that business up. So, you only get one share.
I really got to echo that knockback sentiment. It just gets annoying when, oh, hey, I took damage. Oh, hey, now he's attacking me again. And I'm dead. The whole attack, then run away, and then attack, and then run away is really, really boring. And considering that's the intended strategy for the fights, yeah, color me bored. It's either that or, like Ben said, you bypass all the enemies, which I found eventually it's after dying for the umpteenth time, I'm like, okay, whatever. What's the fastest way through this? Because I really don't want to deal with this again. And then sometimes I just can't make those jumps because I'm not really good at this game. So it's just back to hit and run away, hit and run away, hit and run away. Metroidvania style games are sort of a hit or miss for me. I never really played Metroid or anything like that back in the day when I was a wee lad, so I don't really have any attachment to the format. Stuff like Owlboy and Hollow Knight I really enjoy, but that's because those are like really well done games. Stuff like this is not really my cup of chainsaw. I mean, so the game opens up once you get the double jump, which is kind of nice, but it devolves more into the same thing. Hey, attack, run away, attack, run away, attack, run away. And the exploration part of the formula is not that great either. Like, it does the Paul Jacquet thing where the levels back in on themselves eventually, which is kind of nice, but the navigation is a pain, and I don't know. It just really doesn't do it for me. Also, on the topic of the save points, as a cat owner, when I see a cat's face poking out a hole, my first instinct is stay the fuck away from it, because if you go anywhere near it, you're going to get a face full of claws and teeth. But, you know, here they're the save points. I mean, it's pretty weird. I just got to give it one share. Not my dice.
Okay, so if there's one game genre that I'm personally a fan of is Metroidvania style of game. Dust, The Elysian Tale, Owlboy, and AM2R are those are some of my favorite Linux games, and Super Metroid is one of my all-time favorite game. So this game delivers just what I like because it's competently done just the way I like it to be. So now let's go back to that Dark Souls comparison for a minute, if you will. I've noticed that in the past years, comparing a game to Dark Souls is the lazy way to putting a label to any game where you die more than 3 times on the same spot. Like, oh, it's hard, I died. Oh, it's like Dark Souls, right? Huh. Yeah, it's not an LGC thing. It's even with big YouTubers like Jim Sterling or Total Biscuit, I've heard that same stuff from them. I mean, but overall, this thing is even funnier when coming from people who haven't even touched Dark Souls in their life. I mean, I don't think Ben has installed Dark Souls, right? Okay, so now back to the game. Back to the actual game that doesn't even remotely look like Dark Souls. I mean, it doesn't play like it doesn't feel like it doesn't really have anything to do with it. You know what game is hard as well? Metroid. Oh, and you know what other game is also hard? Castlevania. Oh, what doesn't make Metroidvania, right? Huh. Who guessed? So yeah, it is hard. It is, you will die a bunch of times, but it's not that hard. It's hard, yes, but with patience and training, you will get out of any situation you're in. Bosses, it's a different matter. They kill you with a couple of hits. So since I don't like to spend too much time on spelling a boss, I usually go out and find a let's play or watch. I just want to watch someone else beat the boss before I do. That's just how I play my games. Because I don't want to waste time. I mean, I've wasted like maybe 20 tries on the first boss. One of the first bosses, the Eurofence, that will kill you in just one hit if you're not careful. I finished. I did manage to beat it today, and it wasn't that hard once you knew how to beat it. That said, yes, the map system feels a bit clunky. That's because the rooms you're visiting are much larger than what you would expect in a Metroid game, for example. Metroid, like, they have this one screen equals one square on the map kind of thing. Here, it's not this at all. One square on the map is huge. It will have like several screens of level gunplay, and I've learned how to deal with it and how to appreciate it. And now I'm really okay with it because it makes you remember the map and it makes you remember the level and setup. And the overall map, the game map is not overly huge, so that you won't get lost like a whole lot in it. It does have a speedrun setting. I don't think this is here. Okay. The speedrun setting, only thing it does, it puts a timer on the bottom left of your screen with your playtime. That's all it does. It puts a timer on your screen. So, if you're going for a speedrun, enable this. If you're not, just leave it as is. You don't have to use it. And on your first playthrough, you won't be using the speedrun setting. On the other hand, I'm interested in going through the game once again when I really know the map and I really know the game to make it through in a really short time. That's really interesting. That said, it's not a negative point. It's positive. You know what type of game is really popular among speedrunners? Super Metroid. Super Metroid is super popular with speedrunners. So this is a good thing. Because once you've beaten the game, you can go back and beat your time. That said, it's not a super long game. It's said to be about 3 hours long, but I've put 5 hours on it, mostly because I'm not very good at this type of game. I like it a lot, but I'm not very good. I tend to die a lot, to get lost a lot. So I guess on my next playthrough, I'll get it done in 2 hours or something like this. And also, there's a big difference between finishing the game and getting all the items, because there are tons of items you can get. So many. I mean, these items that will make you go and have moves like in Street Fighter, like left, right makes you throw a spear, or down, up will make you uppercuts, or you have down, up with the strong attack will make you a bigger uppercut. And this is necessary if you want to progress into the game and want to get through all the power-ups. I mean, this is just great. It's just making
how good is it on a scale from 1 to 4 chairs?
All the way. It deserves 4 chairs.
All right. Thank you, Strider. My beard has grown at least 4 inches in length, which is impressive because it grows really, really slowly in the interim. But That's 2 chairs for fun. Tally all that up, and we get the Strider. 2 chairs. So, final thoughts, Ben.
Well, I think the real score for this game is 1 chair with an asterisk. It's always great for us to bring on amateur game reviewers like Strider and kind of get their opinion. And it's fun to watch somebody outtalk Pedro. That was also fascinating. And completely miss points that were made and bring up counterpoints that were borderline laughable.
No, because it didn't exist. It didn't exist. It is.
Hey, buddy, guess what? I got a mute button for you, and I let you talk, so you do the same for me. That's how it works. Isn't it beautiful? It's an all right game for the price. I'll say this. Like, it was like £3. I'd say pick it up, try it. If it's not your thing, send it back. If you really like the Metroids, maybe that's good. Maybe you dig that business. Me personally, it's just lacking something to glue it together, man. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's only $5. I mean, of all of the things considered, it's only $5. So if you're anything into Metroidvanias, like, if you liked Owlboy, if you like Dust, if you are like AM Tour, just get this game. It's awesome. Its reputation seems to have been hurt by its early access days because it seemed to have been really glitchy and unfinished back when it was in early access. That is why you shouldn't release your games in early access before they're almost done. I mean, like not alpha stage, but release candidate stage. Other than that, I mean, I didn't have anything to complain about the game. It's spot on. It's a really, really well made game.
It's not my bag. I mean, if you're into Metroidvania, this might be something that appeals to you. I don't know.
Yes.
I just feel like there's some fundamental flaws with the core gameplay that at least don't make it appeal to me or people who are of a similar mind.
Not
Strider, please let me finish. Coming up next, we got Hate Mail. Oh man, that was a bit of a slog. I mean, I feel like I have climbed the Demon's Peak after listening to that big old rant. But, you know, if you feel like you have some witty retort or some sort of rebuttal, you can scream back in our direction. You can head over to LinuxGameCast.com, click the contact button. Oh my god, we have a hate mail form. You can select our show, not the one that Strider used to be on, the one that he's currently on right now, Linux Gamecast Weekly. Fill it out. You know how to use a webpage. If you don't, then keep trying to send us hate mail. I want to and record it, put it on YouTube. I want to see how that works out. This week we got we got 4, but really we got 3 lovely hate mails. This one's from Cody, and he says, to the topic of Miss Alex Maurer, this composer needs to check her ego. I know friends who have scrapped and clawed just to be able to do some music in smaller games. Then RCR to see a composer who's lucky enough to get a paycheck and a soundtrack spot in someone's game to have such an ego is fucking brutal. Love, Cody. Listen. My whole take on it is, I don't know what the language of the contract was. I know that these DMCA takedowns are probably extremely frivolous, and you shouldn't do that because that just makes everything worse for everyone else.
Yeah, I definitely got to throw behind this, and this is coming off of we were talking last week, Star Mazer.
Yes,
and also Death Road to Canada. They were going to rework their music and all that because of the DMCA abuse on YouTube. It's going to court. It's a bunch of drama, kind of staying out of it, but yet it doesn't look like Maurer, Alex, just go with Alex, is in the right on this, and it kind of looks like might be some mental issues there. So it's like, yeah, I don't like attacking somebody that's like got legit problems. Strider, you probably got some thoughts on this one.
Not really. Outside that, I know that Cody is a really good member of the Discord channel on Lutris, but I don't really know what went wrong with Alex Maurer and their IP licenses. Can somebody... I didn't follow through what the whole drama was.
Okay, like 3-second recap on that is it started with Starmazer DSP. They hired as a contract to do some sound effects and background music. So you do that, they're like, done. All right, thanks. Here's your check. Cut her a check for, it was like $35,000 or something like that for the work done. Then they're like, boom, Starbazer. Then all of a sudden she decided that she still owned all the music and just started issuing a DCMA request on YouTube. And when people are like, what the hell, man, I'm getting a strike on my channel. This is the fucked up part. This is the part where I will say, what the hell? Because they got the screen grabs of this. She's like, yeah, you don't need to talk to me. What you need to do is everyone needs to organize and attack Starmazer DSP.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably something wrong with the publishing company. And I'm pretty sure going after the people who publish videos of the whatever game they're publishing is not the right way to do it, but it might be the only way to do it.
Then she did the same thing to Death Road to Canada.
Yeah, I mean, that it doesn't matter which game it is. It's just that there might be something fishy going on here, and this was their only recourse.
Which
is not a good recourse, which is not a good thing to do, because you shouldn't attack random YouTubers for what they're publishing. But I don't know. I mean, this seems weird because there's something that the music composer is doing wrong, which is attacking people on YouTube. And there's something that's obviously the game publishing company is doing wrong because the musician is attacking people on YouTube. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. Yeah.
Well, really, the issue is probably some lawyers and people who actually understand contract law and not some speculative internet lawyers, couch attorneys, sofa attorneys.
It's definitely one of those. The video game attorneys gotten involved. I mean, he's like, yo, let's go to court and let's do this. So we'll probably see a resolution to this by the end of next month. And we will know what we know until then. But yeah, I completely agree. I don't want to sit and do the speculation. So,
death and taxes.
RK writes, side note, we were talking about the prices of games. Well, Pedro was, and since he's now in the Britannias, he's like, games are cheaper in the UK anyway, due to taxation rules over here. That's why, even though the recommended retail price for a new game is $49.99, they are pretty always $39.99 or less. So hashtag TIL on that, right?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. But they're in pounds, so they're still expensive they can get, except in Canada and Australia, because that's where...
I don't know, man. I genuinely kind of feel bad for Jordan every time when I think about the currency, Strider, but then Foxy's like, check this out. And then it's almost double the price for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
really puts it all in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks to be you. I mean, I got my games the normal price. And when I was in France, never complained about the price either. So, yeah, all right.
I don't know, man. I'm just not a huge fan of any type of regional pricing because that's just a dick move because
It does make sense because...
How? They're bits. Nothing needs to get moved around. The only real difference should be the tax rate. And whatever standardized on, say, U.S. currency and whatever the exchange rate is of the day, that's your cost.
No, because people don't have the same income from country to country. So you have kind of to adapt and maybe not sell your games as expensive or in countries where people don't earn as much money as in the US. That said, the thing is that people are trying to charge more than the US in the Australia because I don't know, because Australians and Canadians are so rich that
well, I mean, Sildat brought up a good point because Sildat's in space France, and he's like, "Hey, man, buying your games in the UK is a legit way of saving some bucks when you live in Europe." So that's a
yeah. I mean, it might be a way to save a couple bucks. Yeah.
All right, good idea.
All right, last up is from Mir, and he's mad at me. He's saying,
"Oh no."
He says, Rocket League works fine outside of the SSL issue, and that is known and has a known workaround that makes it run. I don't have any issues with my VRAM, and thus I'm not Mr. Alert. Why, God Emperor Froja, would you confuse a loyal subject in such ways? Gives the timestamp in the live stream. Yeah, see, you're all a bunch of interchangeable blobs to me. That's it.
They're not to me because I know both Mr. Alert and Mir individually. They're both in the LA area, so I've met them all both.
Yeah, and
awesome
they're
guys.
they're these like sort of amorphous blobs, right? Yeah.
No, they're actual human beings.
I hate to break this to you. A, it's a practical joke that's kind of gotten out of hand, Strider. B, they're paid actors.
But I do have a Mir alert. Whenever, it warns me whenever Mir is close to my computers, so I can rescue them and keep them working. So this is something that is much needed for my workflow and everything. I do have a Mir alert, and I appreciate it a lot because that way I'm sure I'll have a working computer day to day.
Yeah, well, hey, that's a thing, and probably, what's that, Frank? Oh, don't hit you this time when I do that? Oh, okay. I'm going to try not to hit Frank. Well, we cue the music, because you can always find us around 9:30 Eastern Standard Moon Time. Come watch this Nightmare Train. You never know what's going to happen. It could be insane. It could be terribly calm, but it's somewhere in between most of the time. If you want to scream in my direction, I'm just Advent Stone on that Twitter thing. I'll try to get back to you there if you want to have some long-form conversation. Yeah, you use the hate mail contact so we can get that forwarded to the correct person. G+, just type in Vince Stone into Google. You'll find a picture of Jordan pointing in my direction.
This is true. I'm Jordan Svung. I am constantly spanking my skeleton at the Burning Pool on Twitter, plus Jordan Svung on the Google+.
And I'm Mathieu Commandon, and I don't post anything on Twitter at Striker, and I do post quite a lot on Google Plus at plus Mathieu Commandon, but what you really want to do is follow me on Lutris, like the Lutris Twitter account, Google Plus account, and all of this, because this is where the good things happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I think we just all want to thank Strider in true LGC spirit. You can tell Jordan and I have gotten quite a bit old. Strider was brave enough, old school enough to crack out the alcohol before the show started like we used to do. Yes, and then Jordan and I have gotten old, stone cold, sober. But yeah, man, I think it was cool of him to join us, right? Yeah,
indeed. It definitely filled the void that Pedro left behind, and then some.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Yes, thanks a lot for everything. Remember that game we reviewed, Demon Peak, is really good. Buy it, play it, and install Lutris as well.
Lutris.net, patreon.com/Lutris.
And that's last thing is we need help with Lutris. I've got a new job. I've got no time to dedicate to Lutris. So if you want to make Lutris live, please come to the Linux Gamers Group Discord channel and help make Lucas better. So the Lucas Discord group is the one
Mala,
from
man. Make
Hex
Lucas great again.
ESL. So if you want, please come and join us in the Lucas Discord channel, the Hex ESL Discord channel. Yes.
Now time.
Yes. Do it.
For some credits.
Do it.
As Mr. Bacon wails on the guitar.
Oh, yes, man. Hey, he did a pretty good job on that one.
Yeah, no, he's not a bad player.
No. I mean, he knows what he's doing. I was like, oh my god, your friend's like, yeah.
Demon Peak for life.
Oh, man. That's another one. Another one in the can. What is that? What did you say? 2 more episodes for the 5-year?
Yup.
2 more episodes for a 5-year anniversary. Oh, is that?
I have 5 years of this shit, man. Jeez.
Yeah, feels like 13. Right?
This has literally been the longest job I've worked at.
Mm-hmm. This might be one of the longest as well.
It's probably the longest podcast.
I've not done it every week.
Oh yes, definitely. This is the longest running podcast I've ever been on.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a factually correct statement.
Well, you were on that other podcast once.
Once, yeah. 5 dudes.